mosquitoes all along their arms, then drove on home in separate cars.
Welcome to Girls on Film with Chapman Radio.
Follow us on our socials at Girls on Film Radio.
Hi guys, welcome back to Girls on Film Radio.
Whoa, double
Listen to
time.
it again. Listen to it again.
That moment when the queue goes crazy and they
Oh.
needed you to remember our names.
Hi guys, welcome back to Girls on Film Radio. No filter, no boys, just two Dodge girls talking about the films that we want to talk about. Oh, it's been a long week.
That was a jump scare.
Yeah, sorry you got to hear our audio twice. I know you're not annoyed of it after 3 years of
Yeah.
listening to the same one play.
I think that if you're not already listening to us on the Chapman Radio app, which download it if you don't already, if you're not listening on our website, chapmanradio.live, or you're not on our Instagram Live.
Or
which-
on the YouTube.
Well, I was going to say,
Oh.
if you're not on the Instagram Live, which you should follow us on Instagram at Girls on Film Radio, you should go on our YouTube, which is not our YouTube, just the Chapman Radio
Yeah.
YouTube, because our stream looks so cute. It has our show cover.
Yeah.
It's so professional and so real.
That is why we started not on time, because we were making ourselves look cooler.
Yeah. So go on YouTube, look up Chapman Radio, and look at the live broadcast, because that is us.
It
you
is
have so
us.
many options. There's no excuses.
There's actually twins on the screen. Like, you can't tell that the drawing is not us. Like, that's what we look like still.
Wait, and it's like configured like exactly how we're sitting right now. Because it's like
I know what
me
you
on
mean.
the left and you on the
We
right.
didn't
It
even
works
do that
out.
on purpose. We did not even do that on purpose. I'm gonna have to find a way to read the Instagram comments, because there are comments coming up on the live stream.
I
We'll read those at
can't.
the end.
My vision is not good enough. I'm impaired.
I can't. It's also sideways. I guess I could turn it this way, but then you wouldn't be able to see us. Hi guys. Maddie already said follow us on Instagram at Girls on Film Radio. We now have a tripod. If you're watching us on Instagram, you can see me and Maddie at a better angle than you did last week. And these live streams
Yes.
from Instagram will be uploaded to our Instagram feed post-show every single week. Our episodes are going to be up on Spotify and Apple Podcasts as per usual, or Pandora Music. I don't know.
I don't.
My seat is slowly going down. It is slowly moving down. Oh, I'm okay.
You're being humbled as
Yeah.
we speak, literally. And my mic was a little bit messed up. But if you are in Southern California or just in California like the rest of us, it's a gloomy day outside. So
Yeah.
we need to get a pep in our step. And what a better way than joining Girls on Film
It's
for the
there's-
next 50 minutes.
There's literally no better.
Oh, there
There's literally
isn't.
no better way, and we get to stay indoors and do it, which is really
Yeah.
awesome. Are you watching anything this week? I've watched one thing.
Not really. I'm still watching Poker Face just because of my class, but I am enjoying it. Nothing like recently though.
Any podcasts or YouTube videos that you
Oh,
want?
a really great podcast.
Maybe we should add that to the list.
Yeah,
because I have one
I'm-
I want to mention.
I'm an avid podcast listener, but one of my favorite podcasts, which I feel like is very adjacent to ours, theirs is much more thoroughly researched because they're getting paid for it and it's their actual job.
Yeah.
So they have things on the line. Rehash on Spotify and Apple Podcasts or Apple Music or whatever is so great. They her name is like Maya, and her co-host talk about different internet things, and every season is like a different topic, and this season's topic is about, sorry to get a little raunchy, sex on the internet and what that looks like. And this first episode was about Pam and Tommy.
Oh, I've
And
never heard of this podcast. You always find the best like
It's
niche
so
podcasts.
great. Their tagline is super.
Oh,
no,
I love the cover. It's
really
like
good.
I can show our
I just
Instagram.
listened to this episode. Right?
Can you see that?
Um,
It's like what is it? Regency period,
Yeah.
or like old style drawings.
So
I
their
love it.
tagline is the podcast about the social media phenomenons that strike a nerve in our culture only to be quickly forgotten, but we think are due for a revisiting. It is So great. Again, this last episode was about Pam and Tommy's sex tape and the kind of moral implications that came with that. And then the last season was kind of about like cancel culture, I guess. So there's things about like BuzzFeed and Bye Sister and Deb versus Heard and Cuties.
These.
So if you are chronically online but want to get some intellectual insight out of your chronically onlineness, then I recommend Rehash.
I love that. I will listen to that after the podcast I'm listening to right now, which is called The Witch Trials of J.K. Rowling. I'm in a Women in Politics class, and it's part of our assignment each week to like listen to these episodes and write a discussion post about it. And it is fascinating. Because the Free Press is this like publication that made this like podcast, but they're a very right-leaning podcast, and they got J.K. Rowling to come on and talk about the tweets, like everything, talk about you know, her past, talk about, you know, being a woman in the writing industry and all this stuff. And they interview her, they interview a bunch of people. It's a really well-produced podcast. It's not like just talking. There's like audio clips, they put in like background noises of people on the street, you know, it feels like a production. But it's also it's just like really fascinating to learn, you know, why she tweeted the things that she did. But that's more of like, I guess that's in the same vein of like nonfiction, you know, learning more about the world that we live in, and I think it's really good. But I will listen to that one that you recommended after because I like niche internet topics.
Oh yeah.
Breaking news. Madame Web.
No.
We still have yet to see it. I need to see it so
That
bad. I need to see
Lisa
it so
Frankenstein
bad.
still.
We do need to see that. The only reason
I don't have money. I may pay with blocks. If we went to the movie theaters, if we went to AMC Orange 30 and said, we're Girls on Film, can you just please?
But we do need to see Madame Web and Lisa Frankenstein. But I just want to see Madame Web because I want to see how bad it is. Like everything I've seen is just, it seems like it would be so much fun to watch in the theater and just like giggle.
Yeah, it's so interesting because it's a Sony Marvel film, so it's in the Morbius world and not necessarily like the Disney Marvel. So they have no like regulations and
but they're trying to connect it.
I know, and it's not working for anybody. Because Dakota Johnson, as I know that she's like half invested, a quarter invested
and
in
it sucks that like again it is a movie about a woman with like 4 lead women in the cast, and the movie just sucks. And everyone, and I know it's gonna turn in a week or two. It's gonna turn on. Oh, it's a female-led Marvel movie, just the same way that Black Widow didn't do as successfully. This like it's gonna be that same thing, and I'm scared, but that's not the reason it's bad. It's not bad because there's women in it. It's bad because it's bad.
No, and if I'm being so honest, like this discourse is not that interesting to me, only because I'm so disconnected from the Marvel world that I'm like, why spend my time on this? It's like too much.
Absolutely. I just think it's the people saying that it is the worst movie of all time.
Yeah.
It's just, that's a feat. That is a hard thing to do.
That's real, and it's only February. Like mid-Feb. That's kind of end February, but whatever. That's really
we barely
early
have
in
gotten
the year.
into it. Oh god.
That's crazy.
The other thing I mentioned on the walk on the way here is that Bridget Mendler from Good Luck Charlie, she tweeted a long time ago that there was news coming. And today it was announced that she is now the CEO of a startup company that is like a telecommunication company between Earth and space. So like our, you know, childhood, this kind of transitions into what we're talking about today. A childhood star from a show that I loved as a child that, you know, taught me a lot of things about growing up. She's now, you know, a smart-ass scientist running a startup company
is
about
launching
space.
a new career in the space industry as CEO of startup Northwood Space based in El Segundo, California. The vision is a data highway between Earth and space, Mendler told CNBC.
People think she's a time traveler. There's, like, people are convinced that she's a time traveler. That is, like, somehow there's a lot of lore. We need to watch something on TikTok.
Rather than build rockets or satellites, Northwood aims to mass-produce ground stations, also known as teleports. Ground stations are the typically large and often circular antennas that connect to satellites in space. Girl, what kind of side quests?
I don't know, but it's not even I don't even think it's wasn't she like at MIT? Didn't she get her master's or whatever in like biochemical engineering or something crazy?
Where is El Segundo?
That's just like the best career shift of all time. Like the most successful career shift of all time.
Wow.
Where is El Segundo? You did ask. I don't know.
It's down south. It's down here.
Oh.
This is so
we should go visit.
interesting.
Does she need any interns?
Yeah, she should get Karma.
Me? Oh,
Or
true.
Izzy.
That's true. Karma is interning at NASA, which is
NASA.
crazy. Karma, we love you, girl.
That's
We don't know
awesome.
how you're doing that. Would you like to talk about today's episode?
I don't even know what's going on. Okay, this came from
This came about last night when we were
last night. We were texting from our separate rooms across the hall from each other, and we were like, what should we talk about today? And then I was like, oh my God. Literally on Saturday, I am actually not going to be a child anymore, and I can't say that I could be a child star anymore.
Yeah.
I can't say that I'm a child prodigy anymore. I
Yeah.
can't say that I can.
You can't say you beat teen pregnancy because you were 20 already.
Yeah,
so.
exactly. And I can't claim to eat off the kids menu
No,
anymore.
well, I
If
mean, you
I-
can.
If I covered up a tattoo and if I don't know, wear a mask, maybe.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm literally turning 21
She's gonna
on
be
Saturday.
old, guys. I'm like
Really
the youngest one to exist. Her and Zoe. We should mention that our roommate
Yes.
Zoe and her have the same birthday, which is very
Really
coincidental.
crazy. But I don't even know how to grapple or come to terms with this because I feel like February as a month goes by so fast
Mhm.
that I don't even get a second to sit down and think about what that even looks like or
And
means.
it's a leap year, so
And
there's
it's
an
a
extra
leap
day.
year.
But
Thank God we can relish in this crazy month even further. But in celebration of me turning 21, I was like, what are the movies that you feel like represent your, what did we say?
we said childhood / adolescence was period 1. I don't
Yeah.
know what age that ends off at. I capped it as
I
like
was-
7, 8. I was like, ah.
Yeah, preteen,
Yeah.
and then preteen, teen, and then young adult. So what are the things that we were watching or like are notable when we look back at those times in our lives and we're like, oh my God, yeah, those were
Those were the
it.
years.
Those were the years.
I made a long list, but a lot of them I feel like were just ones that I like happen to think of that I watched forever ago and maybe
This-
don't have as big of an impact on me.
No,
But subconsciously maybe they do. I
These
don't
were
know.
just things that I remember at the time being so highly invested in. And I can't, like, if that's the first thing I think of, then it's like, oh yeah, that
So-
was added onto my list.
I think we'll start at the younger, the child and /
Yes.
adolescence age. What was the first? The first one I wrote down. This is a debate I had with my parents this morning, also because I asked
Mhm.
them. I thought for the longest time the first movie I watched was Nemo. Thought for the longest time that was the first movie I watched in the
Mhm.
theater.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, it was maybe the first movie I watched, but the
Mhm.
first movie I watched in the theater was Curious George.
They put that in theaters.
My dad wrote that down that it was my first movie I ever watched.
If you watched Nemo in theaters, you would have.
But
been
I
like
know
a
I meant
month
like as a
old.
baby. I think that I
Yeah.
thought that they brought me to the theater as a baby. But I watched Curious George at 2 years old, apparently.
George in like what was the movie? I didn't
don't-
even
is
know
there-
that they
is there
had a
multiple?
movie. Oh, they had one, and Drew Barrymore and Will Ferrell were in it. What the
What was
hell?
it, 2004 or 5?
Six,
Okay, then
2006.
I was 2-ish.
Show
yeah.
me the monkey. Show me the monkey.
But that was I have no I obviously have no recollection of this.
Yeah.
Does that I've never watched Curious George as a conscious human being.
He's really cute. Oh, we say this, and then they're literally gonna make a new one in the next 5
100%.
years.
They're already making Bob the Builder.
Yeah, because they need to like sexualize the man in the yellow hat. 'Cause
Yeah.
I know
Jason
people
Bateman would
are
play
weird.
him.
Yeah,
Adam Driver would play him.
Like y'all are freaks of nature, and go touch some.
Who would play the
grass.
monkey? Who would voice the monkey? Was
I
that
don't want it to be a live action one because he's cute.
No, I was gonna say it's
Like,
definitely
as
live
a-
action.
as a
They're
little
making it
cartoon
Lyle Lyle Crocodile, but Curious George the musical.
I don't like that. I don't know who it would be because I feel like
Who's that one kid that was the voice of Flounder in the Little Mermaid movie?
the new
He plays Wonder. He's the Wonder. Not Noah.
Jacob Tremblay.
Jacob
I think he's
Tremblay.
too old now.
But I don't think he needs to physically be the monkey. I think just the voice.
he's gonna be 18.
Oh,
His voice
Jesus.
is dropped already, bro.
Jesus.
He was in Good Boys.
Okay, give it to Percy Jackson, Walker Scoble. He can be the
Yeah,
monkey.
he can be. Okay, this is really funny because I just thought of this as we were sitting and talking about this.
Yeah.
Actually, I have 2 for this like era. Are we
Okay.
giving 2 for?
Oh,
each?
I have a lot, so we can
Okay,
talk
so
forever.
I guess if my mom is watching, which I know she is, I was told that as a kid, this makes me sound like a fucking like internet edge lord. Like,
You are.
I watched this as a kid, and that's why I am the way that I am. But when I was a kid, I would. And still am. I was like such an on edge, like anxious little kid.
Okay.
And the only way that I would like sit down and eat, and this was when I was like a baby, all the way up until I was like a toddler, was I had to sit down and like watch Shrek. I'm being so real. And my mom would put it on and like in English and the Spanish version. all of the different versions. I had to watch it, or else I could not sit down and do anything. And that's why I was saying, like, oh, I'm such an internet edgelord, because that thing on TikTok that's trending right now of that one rave, the Shrek rave. Where
Yeah,
they, like,
where he's spitting on the
yeah, and it's so, and he's peeing everywhere. It's so weird. So for me to say that I was a Shrek, like,
It makes
stan
sense, though.
since a child.
It makes sense, not the
Feels-
Shrek thing, but the needing to watch something while you eat. And
the
needing to
consistent-
watch something while you do things.
Yeah, and it's still true.
I
It's
know
still
that
me
for a fact.
now. But
that's
it's
so
just
funny. That's
so weird. I remember my mom would always tell me, like, I needed to watch it at every second, or else I would not comply at all. I'm like, what? Maybe it's just because it's
just
like,
the first one.
I think it was only the first one.
Okay.
I do remember watching, like, the other ones too as a kid, but that was like going to the theater. This
Yeah.
was like you with Nemo, how you don't, or Curious George, how you don't recall actually watching it. This is one of those things that, like, I
Okay.
don't recall watching it, but I was told by society
Yeah.
that and everyone in the world.
So in the Disney realm, wait, is Toy Story Disney?
Yes.
Okay, so Toy Story 2, specifically the second one,
Mhm.
and Mulan 2, specifically the second one, per my parents, were some of my favorites. Specifically Mulan 2, not the first one. And I know that's the least popular. That's like not the favorite Mulan. Obviously.
What was the difference between the original
don't
Toy Story and the
remember.
second one? Like, literally,
Doesn't he give the toys away?
no, that's like
That's
the
the third one, the
newest
daycare one.
Yeah, that was like we
No
were
idea.
preteens.
Is
What
it-
the heck is the point in the second? Oh, is this one? I don't know.
But I liked the second ones of these movies, apparently.
I guess.
mm.
I don't understand. Is this when Jesse is introduced? I don't know.
We should rewatch.
Yeah, I guess. But in the same, I think it's good then that all of our like early adolescent or like early childhood ones are all animated.
Yeah.
Because then I remembered when I would stay at my dad's house, I had like a TV in my room, but I remember he would like put things on before I went to bed, and it's like the typical things like Shark Boy and Lava
Yeah.
Girl and like all those
Classic.
different things. But I remember I would always get anxiety of like knowing, because you watch it so many times that you just like know. I would get so much anxiety knowing that the movie was going to end soon, and then it was just going to be like a black screen for like the
Aw.
rest of the night. And I would be like, it would be like 10 minutes till it ends, and I'm like, oh my god, the movie is going to end, and then I can't. And ASMR was not a thing. Nothing was gonna like. I could not do anything to like make me fall asleep. So then after it would be done, I would just be like, the movie's
She
over.
hadn't discovered ASMR yet.
No, the movie's over, and like I don't know if I'm allowed to like put on another one
Oh,
after
that's
going
so
to bed. But the
sad.
one that I remember doing this with was with the Bratz Baby movie.
Oh.
Oh my god, this movie is so cunty with a
Whoa.
capital C. It's so good.
Baby
Wait, I
movie.
can't even show because the
Baby or Bratz Babies with a Z.
with the Z. Wait, can they see it?
I can hold it up.
Oh, that's
That-
better, I
yeah.
think. Bratz Babies. So I had these all on DVD, and this one was so cute because basically all of the Bratz are babies. They're in
As the title
yeah,
says.
and they're all in a daycare at the mall, and each of the babies has their own little animal, and it's so
crop
cute.
tops.
They each have their own little animal, and then one of the girls' puppies, like her dog, escapes, and then the movie is them trying to find the puppy
In the mall.
in the mall.
Why are
And
they
it's like
wearing
this
crop
little
tops and
baby-
lipstick?
Yeah, and then there's like the group of boys, and they're like, gross, ew, and they're all running around trying to find the dog. You can literally see. Oh my god, this is like crazy nostalgic for me. Do you see them? They're like
Yeah, it's scary
little
looking.
boys and like the little girls, and like why are they literally so cunty with
There's
the capital C?
A Bratz Super Babies movie.
No, like
It's the second one. Aliens return to Earth to rob preteen girls of their superpowers.
no.
Are you serious?
I'm just like, I think the reason why I liked it so much was because the girl one, all of them are girls. Chloe, I think was her name, was the blonde one. Her pet, let me see.
You liked her the most.
I think,
you
well, I
think?
liked her the most because her name is my middle name, and I think her pet was a pig, yeah. So her name was Chloe, and her pet was a pig.
It's all making sense now, guys.
Yeah, and my middle name is Chloe, and my favorite animals are pigs. So her pet was a pig, and then like one had like a little dog, and one had a cat, and like, oh my gosh,
it makes a lot of sense.
I just remember
She
there
still
was
has a
like
fascination with pigs.
that's so real, and I remember watching. There's like the opening scene is each of the babies getting ready to go to daycare, and they're like full morning routine vibes, and it was crazy and so cute. And like I think that is more encompassing of my childhood than like fucking Shrek was.
Makes sense.
I feel like Bratz Babies had more of an impact.
I need to know if you've watched this movie. This is another one that, again, I categorize it as childhood, but I could have watched it preteen. Homeward Bound.
I've definitely heard of it.
It's it's not, the only non-animated movie really at the beginning of this list.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
It's about the dogs who two dogs and a cat who go missing from their owner, who's the guy from the Back to the Future
Oh my God,
movies.
there's so many.
And
of them.
then there's a part where they get pricked by a porcupine, and that got me crying when I was a child. I don't know what it was about talking dogs and cats trying to make it back to their owner.
Yeah.
But I specifically remember that traumatizing me as a child. So maybe that in a good way. I remember it.
Disney will never.
Oh, it was Disney. It was
Yeah.
Disney too.
Disney will never go back to this wholesome era of. They can never do a live action animal movie
No.
like this ever again.
Because they got to make the mouths move and stuff.
Yeah, and this had no really humans in it. It was just following
Yeah.
the animals. Disney would never do this.
No.
It's
No, ma'am.
crazy. This is so. Are you kidding?
They're
Like,
doggies.
and a cat.
They're just dogs and a
And
cat.
They're literally escaping a damn river.
No, they
Wait,
literally ride a log. down a
are you
river.
serious?
I'm telling you, they get pricked by a porcupine, and that was probably the saddest thing I've ever seen at the age of 5.
Why is this so sad? They're literally drowning. No, and then all of the Air Buddies, all of those ones were really great.
Marley
as
and
well.
Me.
Yeah, any of those kind
dog
of animal
movies.
dog
Yeah.
movies. I'm glad that those are the ones that I can correlate in my head with being younger, whereas now I don't know what young people
I don't.
movies
There's
are.
not something that characterizes a young person movie
No.
nowadays.
No, I feel like
But
this
those feel
generation-
inherently 2005.
Yeah, this generation has no collective identity. I feel like we're
That's-
the last generation of kids that had a collective identity
Yeah.
of everybody's on the same page.
'cause
Whereas
there's-
now everybody's trying to be so individual.
Yeah.
And then all the markets are
Mhm.
trying to just, make
But
more than the others.
There's so much stuff now too.
And there's
There
too
was
much.
so everyone's finding their own thing, which is a good and bad at the same time.
Yeah.
Preteen. Any preteen movie that stood out to
Oh.
you? Again, I count this preteen. It's 10 to 8, 9, 10, 12, 11, 12 ish.
Oh, wait. I feel like mine was a little bit. You go first.
Okay.
Because I think mine were preteen, as in 11 and 12.
Okay,
which
that's
is older.
I think again I have I can't categorize those years in my mind. Those kind of all mush together. The one that I wrote down that I think is the two. I'm gonna go 3. The 3 weirdest ones.
Weirdness.
Most niche ones that I think other people don't have the same because I could say I wrote down The Princess Bride. I watched that at a really
Okay.
young age. I love that. That's not my answer. I could say How to Train Your Dragon.
Yeah.
But everyone watched How to Train Your
Yeah.
Dragon. My Mr. Mongorium's Wonder Emporium.
Mm.
No one has seen that movie ever. I think I mentioned that in an episode where no one
How do you
has
spell
watched
it again?
Mr. Magorium.
Who is the main guy? in that?
Yes.
I don't remember.
Rain Man.
Mm.
I'm good. You're gonna tell me his name, and I'm gonna cry because I don't know it.
Oh my God! Wait, it's an actual place.
Yes.
Wait, that's crazy. Okay,
They made a store.
that's so sick. Okay, Dustin Hoffman.
Dustin Hoffman
I just remember.
and Natalie Portman, right?
Yes, I remember the scene where he opens the door and there's a big ball in there, it's huge.
I just
Yes,
so
I love
deeply
this
remember that
movie.
movie a
I
lot.
love this movie.
How to Eat Fried Worms. That's one that I think no one has also ever
You've
seen.
mentioned it a lot.
There's something about the boys eating fried worms at a park. I was never part of the
No.
boys, And then the other one, Daddy Daycare.
Daddy Daycare.
Again,
I do.
maybe that's just
Oh,
me.
I do
My
remember.
parents showed me weird stuff. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
I love Daddy Daycare. That movie is so funny.
That is really.
I think it
funny.
was just funny because, I never went to a daycare. I don't think.
Why are they dressed up as
younger.
vegetables?
Because they had to entertain.
How would you just?
That was
readily
their
have
old
them?
job.
Oh,
Because
that's
that was their
good,
old
that's
job in
good.
marketing, and then they had the costumes
That's
because
the-
they got fired. Yeah, well, there's a broccoli one that's good too.
This is really scary
That's
and
a-
really funny. I'm kidding. That's really good.
So those are I think my 3. I also wrote Annie and Enchanted, but those I feel like a lot of people watched, and I think those other ones, if I was to deeply analyze them, would make sense as to why I am.
I think
right
one on the same
now.
vein of Daddy Daycare in the I don't know if genre-wise it's basically the same. I remember watching Grown Ups in the theaters or something. Or,
serious?
I just remember watching Grown Ups during the
Are you
same kind of time.
That's not for kids.
2010, okay, preteen.
Okay.
7, is that like too young to be a preteen?
No,
Technically,
but
anything
why would you watch it grown-ups before 12 anyway?
I remember watching it, and I just remember the line about getting chocolate wasted, and that's like been ingrained in my head all the time. Because now I think about it, and I'm like, yeah, I know that they're trying to like make a joke
Yeah.
about being drunk, but
Yeah.
like, what is chocolate wasted, and why was that so funny? And like in
What is
every
chocolate
promo ever. I also remember them. I think it might have been in even like the second one where they put themselves in the wheels and they were like rolling down some hill
That's
or
the second
something.
one.
I think
'Cause
like
the first one's the water park.
like why was Grown Up such a phenomenon? Like it was a huge phenomenon in my head. Even though it's like looking back at it, nobody talks about it, but it was so huge.
it's
Rob-
all perception.
No,
it's all
and-
perception.
And like I think it was also in the second one, Rob Schneider's kids and like his 2 daughters being like really hot.
I think that's wait. That may be the first one though. Hold on.
I don't remember, but it was like I'm kind of understanding like humor. I think that was like one of my early things of being like, oh, I get it. He's like ugly, and then his kids are hot and pretty. Like, oh, that's supposed to be funny.
It's the origin story of Maddie being a stand-up comedian.
No,
Schneider's
that's why
the
I'm not
best.
one.
Rob Schneider's hilarious. Okay, I don't know if it's the first one or not.
It was just like there were so many folks in it. There's just like so many people.
The cast is insane.
It's so
Tana
stacked.
and McClain.
Yeah,
Everyone's in this.
it's
That's
so
funny. I must rewatch it.
no.
Because you say that chocolate line, and I like remember
chocolate
that
wasted.
specifically.
Why was that in everything? I remember seeing that everywhere, or like hearing
Again, it's all perception.
it. Real.
Any more preteen movies you can remember? I also
So
wrote
this
Corpse
is, like-
Bride because I watched that at 8, but I talk about that enough, so I won't.
This is
anymore.
getting into preteen as in like 12 and 11.
Okay, so let's call this teen then, because you can say preteen still.
Was like I think that was like the first time I realized what like Netflix was,
Is
and
Netflix around? I'm scared.
oh, it definitely was.
When?
Like, and I learned what binging shows were or binging things in like middle school, and then I watched Parks and Rec for the first time,
yep.
and I was like, oh, this is something. What is this?
This is gold.
This is gold. And then that kind of led me down the rabbit hole of being aware of pop culture
Okay.
outside of just like One Direction and 5 Seconds of Summer.
Yeah.
Like outer
Awkward.
kind of millennial
Yeah.
pop culture
I don't
with Parks and Rec.
I don't remember TV shows as a child. Like that's not, or like teen. Like I got one for teen that I'll mention because most of the TV show I watched when I was a teenager. But I don't remember like what I watched at 11 or 12 or 13, like as a TV show. Maybe that's just like I don't know.
I think I was also just during these times I was more involved in music, and I was
Yeah.
really like finding what my music was, because TV and film, as it always will be, it takes up a lot of time, and you have to invest a lot of like sitting down
Yup.
and watching things, whereas music
Yup.
was so much faster and more accessible. So when I was able to find Parks and Rec, and I was like, oh, being able to sit down and binge the whole thing meant that it was good enough for me to sit down and watch this
Yeah.
instead of doing something else.
I just
At 12 and 13, watching
so
Parks and Rec.
intellectual.
Yeah.
Let's go to teen. I feel like I have a lot of teen, but that's also just like my favorite movies.
I
ever.
think, yeah.
I think the teen years are the where I watched the movies that are like now my favorites still.
Yeah, I thought of it more of like what were the movies where I had watched it and I was like, oh, I could make that. Or like, oh, this is me
That's some of these on here too.
choosing. This is something that is not the most popular by like social standards, but I personally liked it.
Yeah.
And then also, what was I making a Stan account of on Twitter? That's how I know it was good in my head.
I'll mention the show, I guess, in the teens first because I don't remember when. I'm actually gonna look it up before I say it. Well,
My mic
Jane the
keeps on falling
Virgin.
down.
Jane the Virgin was like I think one of the first shows I must have watched where I like you were saying like it was coming. I watched like the first 3 seasons and then I watched like 4 and 5 as they were coming out on TV. I would sit in my parents' bed and watch it on the TV every week. I think it was that first show where I was on the internet watching other people talk about the show that I was also watching and being in the discourse of said show.
I don't think I've ever been able to do that.
I think that the era of
Live
binging,
tweeting
live tweeting stuff. Like I think that only happens now with like The Bachelor
yeah.
and like award shows is when I like follow live tweeting. But like,
yeah, because people want to watch it faster than everybody else
Yeah.
because they want to form the
Yeah.
opinion.
but watching this show, especially since it's like a telenovela kind of style where there was
Yeah.
a twist at the end of every episode. Like it was predictable as fuck, but
yeah,
I
that's
loved
the
it.
point, yeah.
And it still is one of my favorite shows of all time, just because I don't know why somehow a woman who got pregnant from Inception,
Yeah.
stuck with me.
I do remember hearing, because I went on like a Catholic elementary, middle school, hearing that and being like, what? That's possible?
What?
Yeah, what the
Yeah.
heck? I do also remember watching it like when I was younger, but it never stuck with me. That was in my Parks and Rec bag.
It's okay.
But movies, oh my god, I remember in middle school, and this was my thing, was Spider-Man Homecoming. No.
That's middle school.
Not Spider-Man. Was that middle school or was it like freshman year? It
Oh,
wasn't
it's,
Spider-Man
yeah.
Homecoming. It was Captain America Civil War,
Captain America.
which is my favorite Marvel movie because I think that's how you do an ensemble Marvel movie with with everybody.
2016. You're 13.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, fuck Infinity War, fuck all of those ones where it's everybody coming together. Civil War is the way you do it. It was so
you don't like
great.
Winter Soldier? I think Winter Soldier is probably my favorite.
Okay, Winter Soldier is good, but that was like the first time that we were able to see Peter in this like
Yeah.
MCU sphere. And I think that the way that they were introducing everybody was so great because you got a taste of what their worlds were.
Yeah.
Like when Tony goes to New York and like meets him.
Yeah.
And like him and Aunt May are kind of flirting a little, and then Peter's trying to like hide all of his stuff. Oh my god, it was so good because it was only like 10 minutes.
We go
No.
from dissing Marvel to loving Marvel.
This is the only like Marvel movie I will ride for. It was like literally only like a 7 to 10 minute scene of them like talking and him
Yeah.
trying to recruit him, but it was so cute and so wholesome, and it was just I don't know why it stuck with me so much. And I also think just like the ethical like debate in that
Yeah,
movie
yeah.
made me like think of all
Oh.
of the Marvel movies and superhero movies just so differently. So I absolutely loved it. I made all of my like I had a Chromebook in middle school, my Chromebook
Of course you
lab.
did. Yeah.
Oh my god, I can literally find the photo because it was iconic.
My dad texted me and said I forgot to mention watching Big Time Rush, the show.
Oh yeah,
duh.
I remember.
And iCarly, but also duh. But Big Time Rush, that was my stuff.
Big Time Rush because Izzy and I were One Direction and still are One Direction
Yeah.
girls. And I remember being gifted a pack of Big Time Rush pins. And I like love Big Time Rush obviously, but I was so mad
But
because
it
I was
wasn't One
more of a
Direction.
One Direction stan. So what the fuck?
Yeah.
Let me find this.
What other okay, teen movies.
But-
See,
huh.
like this is a movie about being a teen, but I probably didn't watch it until I was in my late teens.
Mhm.
The Perks of Being a
Oh
Wallflower.
my god, this was the photo that
Wait,
was on
I'm scared.
everything. No,
I'm
it's
scared.
good. It's good. It's
Oh,
cute.
it's the
when he catches
Spider-Man, yeah.
when he catches his the shield. Oh
Yeah.
my god, this was like everything to me and more. This was my background on everything. It was my header on Twitter.
It's embarrassing.
It was everything
It's
to
embarrassing,
me.
but it's,
And
I
that
mean,
began my like film stan Twitter kind of era where I was transitioning out of being a 5 sauce stan on Twitter to being like to Marvel to
Yeah.
Lonely Island to movies as in general and
That's
all
fair.
of the sorts.
I was saying Perks of Being a Wallflower. I watched it. I probably would
that's
say
good.
late teens, but it was also about being a teen. I think a more
yeah.
intense life than I was living.
Mhm.
I'm trying to think of like younger teens. Bolt.
Really?
The dog
Yes, I
movie.
love that
Why do I
movie.
like dog movies? I
No,
don't
that
know.
movie's great.
That movie
Miley
because
Cyrus.
But you know what I think I like? Again, I can trace it all back. That's about being a movie star.
Yeah.
and having a pet.
I really
and
like the cat.
parrots and,
And she
stuff.
was a
Or
little-
pigeons. I like the pigeons in that movie that he
See.
became friends with.
And the little cat was bitchy.
Yes.
And cute. And then the
Well, that was the
hamster.
co-star's cat, right?
I think so.
I just
Oh.
love the. Are you telling me the twists? Like that one twist in the beginning where it's like that you think it's the scene,
Oh, this movie was so good.
right? Because there's like the evil guy and
That's
he ends up
cra-
being the actual
Yeah.
evil guy. It's like it all
Wow.
works together.
This concept
I
was
just-
so great.
They're
Jenny-
gonna make a live
Jenny
action of that.
Lewis was
They're gonna
on-
make a live action.
Jenny Lewis was on the soundtrack for this. We literally saw Jenny Lewis open for Harry.
Wait, we did?
Yeah. We literally
Hold
did.
on.
Or
Jenny?
did I see?
Who? I don't think Jenny Lewis opened for. No, she didn't open for us.
Are you serious?
Who opened for? Was it? It wasn't.
Oh, I saw Jenny Lewis open for Harry another time, the time before.
I don't
For Fine
remember.
Line.
I don't remember who opened for us when we saw him. It wasn't
It
Carrie.
was the
Casey
guy
Musgraves.
and he brought out no, that was self-titled.
Oh,
But I did sorry to that like to totally derail the conversation. I did see Jenny Lewis, which is so
I like
silly.
her hair.
Oh, my
what?
aunt said, do you remember getting nightmares after watching Scream at Auntie Heather's house when you were like 5? I don't remember that, but I do remember being taken to a Halloween party with my mom. And they were watching The Human Centipede. And I was like the
Oh.
only kid there. And I was like, I don't think I'm supposed to be watching
I
this.
fully also
Yeah.
remember specifically watching it when my parents told me not to watch it with my
Yeah.
friend Nicole from like middle school.
Yeah.
That was definitely middle school. Like we put on the TV and we got scared.
I
to
think
death.
that's a rite of passage is watching scary movies that you're not supposed to.
that. And Would You Rather?
I don't think I've seen
You
that.
gotta watch that. That's like that's like the first invite a bunch of people to a rich person's house and like play a game that until they all like die and like one
Brittany
person's left.
Snow.
Yeah, it was
Oh,
crazy.
I do remember these covers, but I think it's both the rite of passage to watch scary movies with your that you're not allowed to with your friends, and then also being put in a situation where you're watching one with your parents and you cannot leave and you have to stay there and watch it.
Yep.
That was me with Human Centipede.
That's really scary.
It's really silly.
Yep, that still terrifies me to this day.
It's still
There's
no situation that will actually happen.
there's
But like
the third one or the second one where there's like a prison or something that does it. That is going around TikTok right now. Like people are
Why?
posting the whole thing of it.
you guys are really weird. Like why you can find
Who made
videos-
that movie? Let's check.
You can find I was literally watching episodes of My Sweet 16 on MTV from the early 2000s on TikTok. I'm watching that. Why would you be watching Human Centipede? You're
mean-
subjecting yourself to that? That's crazy.
I don't know, man.
But
The human center. Hold on. Why do I?
getting into teens as Izzy is finding
yeah.
this, transitioning out of my Peter Parker,
I'll
Spider-Man.
still be in that era forever.
I know, me too. It's like sick. As if I don't have so many Spider-Man things in my room.
Yeah, this man made the human centipede. It makes
Yeah,
sense.
he has a weird, scary hat. Yeah.
It makes sense.
I'm thinking in my eras of Stan Twitter, Kingsman: The Secret Service was like
oh my
one
god,
of
you
my.
would never you don't ever shut up about
I
this movie,
don't.
but I love it.
Because I literally loved it so much. I could not tell you why, but it was so good. My
Yeah.
username on Twitter was literally Golden Circle after Kingsman:
Yeah.
The Golden Circle.
That's scary.
All of them were so good, and for what reason? I love them. I did not even watch the prequel because, like, what's the point
Yeah.
of is JP's the dog, I think, but like of what's his name not being in it.
Oh, Taron.
Taron Egerton. Like if he's not in it, then it's not Kingsman to me. So what's the
She's
point?
a
of
truther,
watching it?
guys. She's a truther.
I am.
She's a truther.
But I don't know what it was about it. I think the fact that it had so much lore and the story and the world was so rich, but it wasn't like Marvel rich, and it
Yeah.
wasn't like I don't know. You know what I mean?
No, I get it. I
It's
get
not
it.
like
It's a
commer-
standalone, but a big world.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's why I liked it so much. I don't know why I was so invested.
One that I think that one stays with you to this day because we've mentioned this before. This one I watched. I think I was I 13 in 8th grade? Were you 13? I don't remember the year. I watched this in 8th grade,
20,
but it's
20.
stayed with me
Yes.
forever. National
Or-
Treasure.
You also will always talk about this.
It is one of the best things on the planet. I'm not I don't like follow the political history or
Uh-huh.
like the history of the United States. I don't know anything
Mhm.
except what I've been taught in National Treasure 1 and 2, but
I'm-
specifically 1. Something about watching Nicolas Cage, save, a giant ass treasure from being stolen by a bunch of scary white British men.
I've literally never watched this movie in my life.
And it's so good. It's so good.
It's so random.
It is. It really is. And I mean, they're supposed to be making a third one, and they made a TV show, so at least it's not too random because people wanted a TV show.
Why
of
does
it.
he have RGB glasses? Like
Oh, the ones that like flip up and down.
Yeah.
It's because those like show on the back of the Declaration of Independence. There's like a symbol that they have to find, and it's like
Oh my
each
God.
color like shows a different thing. Those are like Benjamin Franklin's glasses or something.
He was
crazy.
not using that.
No, I know all of it's
That's
fake. All of
crazy.
it's fake. There's like a
That's
city
crazy.
under a graveyard, and there's like
What are
there's a
you
map
even
of the Declaration of
talking
Independence. There's a brick on the what's the bell tower? The bell. The
Yes,
Freedom
whatever.
Bell. There's like
Yeah.
a crack in it that shines a light on this specific brick on the wall.
I'm going to steal. I remember going to Washington D.C.
Yep.
for my 8th grade trip, and that's the only joke that I would make the whole time was that I was
You're
going to steal
Declaration of
the Declaration of Independence. I learned actually nothing on that trip. If I'm being
Me
so
neither.
honest,
I learned
remember
the beginning of the Declaration of Independence.
I did not. All I remember is that I bought a hat in every single place that I went, and then I left my wallet on the plane as we were leaving. Yeah, but it's okay because we got it. Yeah, because 8th grade me
I
had
feel like
so
you forget
much
your
to
wallet
lose.
still, so.
Yeah, my card holder, but I digress. There's a
Okay,
other
young
thing.
adult. This is what I would qualify as like 18 plus. 17
Whoa,
plus.
18 plus.
18 plus content. No. Like we are still young adults. Maddie will still be a young adult at 21 theoretically.
What the
Right?
hell?
Yeah, I think
I
so.
guess so.
What is like what is your movie? Your
One?
I'm turning 21. This movie will stay with me forever. I don't know.
Oh, well, there's two.
go
I
right
talk
in.
about them often. 20th Century Women and Diary of a Teenage Girl are two
Yeah.
of like my favorite movies
I feel like
of all time.
Diary of a Teenage Girl. Yes, I haven't heard you mention 20th Century
Oh,
Women
20th
before, but I
Century
know that
Women
Greta's
is-
in it, right?
Greta Gerwig is in it, and it's basically about this older woman in the 80s or 79, so like about to transition into the 80s. She is in her mid 50s, and her son is like a teenage boy. He's only like 13 and she doesn't have a husband, and she's trying to figure out how am I going to mother my son in an age where so much is changing, and I feel like I'm not getting the support that I need to like be able to foster this kid into being like a good person. So then she recruits these like 2 other women close to her in her life to like live with her and kind of like help her raise him. And it was Greta Gerwig. So Annette Bening is the mother, and then Lucas J. Zuman is the son, and he was like in Anna Green Gables, I think. The guy.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. And so Annette Bening recruits Elle Fanning and Greta Gerwig's characters to kind of like live with her and kind of like raise him, in that she's like the oldest maternal figure, and then Greta Gerwig is like the middle-aged, like she has some wisdom but she's still a little bit lax, and then Elle Fanning is close to his age and she's able to help him like kind of come out of his shell and like experience what it means to like be a teenager and be cool in Santa Barbara and that sort of stuff. I literally love this movie so much. I have the soundtrack on vinyl. It's just so great, and he was like so surrounded by women the whole movie, which I think is why I loved it so much. And then by the end he like finds himself and he's like at a skate park or whatever, and he's like with boys, which ew, gross. If you're hearing this,
The message is there.
the message is there, and that you should only hang out with women. But I love 20th Century Women. It's just so shows how good it is to be a woman and being able to like support other women and all of that stuff. And then Diary of a Teenage Girl is just, I talk about it in literally every episode because it's like my favorite movie of all time. It's just a young girl in the 70s in San Francisco trying to find her place in like the liberation movement and how to become comfortable in her sexuality, even if that means doing things that are risky and doing things that she definitely should not have been doing, and then all of the moral and ethical like implications that come with that.
So you have beautiful choices. I have one beautiful choice and one silly choice. But Booksmart, I think
That's a
that falls
great
along
one.
the same line. Like, I think ever since I have not stopped thinking about that movie since I watched it, because I feel like I mentioned this in an episode where we talk about movies that feel like there's characters that represent us. Like, I don't think I've ever seen a character that I so deeply like understood every part of. Both of the main characters specifically, I think just, I don't know, something about them, like they made me reflect on my time in high school and realize like, you know, I could have done a lot of things differently. I could have been a lot more outgoing or whatever, but I was happy the way I was, and I think that was kind of like the
that's
theme. But I love that one. And then my other good one's a TV show. I have to say BoJack Horseman. And I know everyone
Yeah.
goofs about it when I tell them that that's my favorite TV show of all time. I'm being serious. That
She's
TV
being
show,
real.
I'm being real. That TV show, again, I'm not relating to the crazy drug addicted horse main character. My connection to that show is there's a character named Princess Carolyn, and she's this like big time Hollywood agent, and she loves her job, but she's also grappling with this idea of like motherhood and being a good girlfriend and being a good person, and working with terrible people does that make her a bad person, and like all this stuff that I think, she's a character I relate to the most. There's a lot of things about that show that I relate to, but I think that specifically also taught me like animation is a beautiful thing, and I think that also reflects the rest of the movies that we mentioned, because it feels like I've loved animation since a very
that
young
is
age.
true. That is very very true.
But I guess I could also say La La Land, which is like
Yeah.
a cheesy answer, but it's
No.
true. Like I think, I don't know, seeing Hollywood depicted in that certain way made me feel a lot of the things.
I think the way that you feel about La La Land is the way that I feel about Lady Bird,
Yeah,
which like those are like the two
yeah,
like
Yeah.
pinnacle answers for every person
From, like, a-
literally
yeah.
on campus.
yeah.
It's you're
But it's
like
true.
a Ladybird person or a La La Land person, or you're greedy and you're both.
It's
but
true.
thankfully you have the two sides from
Yeah.
us.
Um,
Because I was literally Ladybird. I went to an all-girls school. I wore the same exact outfit as her, and I wanted to get out. Whatever capacity I could, I wanted to leave.
And I think when I watched La La Land, it was like the, wanting to be in Hollywood like they were, and then kind of seeing how kind of it is, and then
Yeah.
still deciding to do it anyway.
Yeah.
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 Anything else that you want to mention that we didn't mention before?
The first day that I watched Lady Bird, I also watched The Disaster Artist and Baby Driver on the same day, and I was like, "Oh my god, I'm a cinephile."
The Disaster Artist is crazy.
The Disaster
I just
Artist
saw
is so good.
I saw a meme that was like me when I'm a I call myself a cinephile, but I haven't watched a movie in a week, and it's like someone with like a straight jacket, and they're like, I'm a fake cinephile.
That's literally me. I've been so behind on my movie a week, but it's also because I've been watching TV. So
Yeah.
it's like,
She's been busy.
but I can't count that on the list. It doesn't count. So
We've
it
both
sucks.
been very busy in good ways.
Yeah. And we're also going to New York next week.
Yeah.
So we will be having one more episode before we leave.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's happening.
I think there's like 2 ideas we have for next week's episode.
Yeah. So
Maybe. Yeah.
just know that next week we're gonna be on edge. I'll promise you that. Actually.
Yeah, we're gonna be anxious because after this we'll be packing.
Yeah.
Kind of scary.
Yeah. But
Hey guys, thanks for listening to our childhoods.
yeah, literally nothing is going to change after Saturday. I'm going to be the exact same person. There's nothing that when I'm turning 21 will change what I do. Everything that I've ever wanted to do is like
I've been doing it.
I've been granted access to that at 18, which is literally
Except
get
the
tattoos,
bars.
get tattoos and get piercings.
We just go to the bars so often, you guys don't even know.
Yeah, you guys were literally at the D every night.
Thanks so much for listening, guys. Tune in next week. We love you.
Bye. Thank you for being with me since I was 18.
Oh,
That's
that's
really
crazy.
weird and crazy.
Crazy. Bye.
Bye.
You are about to hear
All new music. New music.
New music.
This is the all new Chapman Radio.
Hazy eyes. I wanna talk to you all night. When the molly comes up and I'm feeling excited, and you and I have no walls in between us, and I finally recognize it feels like this always with you. With you it's so permanent. Do you want me like you wanted to want someone? Do I make you feel the way you wanted to feel loved? And could you love me like you wanted to love someone? Can I make you feel that way? The way that you feel love, babe. Outside, when we feel like we're water, and you want to get close to the sound of the fireworks, and I oblige and lay down on the blanket, and it feels like I'm falling, and it feels like this always with you. With you it's so permanent. Can you feel it when we talk? Tell me anything at all. What you want when your heart's beating, 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 beating. Do you want me like you wanted to want someone? Do I make you feel the way you wanted to feel loved? And could you love me like you wanted to love someone? Can I make you feel that way? The way that you feel love, babe.
like
alternative rock,
old school hip hop,
classic rock,
blues,
trap,
folk,
reggae,
jazz,
and more?
then you should check out Genre Journey, a new show on Chapman Radio. Tune in every Friday from 9 to 10 p.m.
I imagine you just like a fantasy.